So my number one tip for new parents is to make time for yourself. This is a message that you're hearing a lot on Instagram and private parenting Facebook groups and mommy blogs and all this stuff. But I want to go one level deeper than, just take a bubble bath, take time for yourself, sleep when the baby sleeps. Because for me, it wasn't like the what I should be doing for myself, it's how. How am I supposed to free up time when I have work? These kids are hard. I have multiple kids, there's 3 of them. I'm drowning in bills. It all feels so heavy. Like I don't have time to tackle anything other than the important stuff. And I want to talk to you about the processes that I've had to kind of learn and adjust over the course of 4 years, because it wasn't instant, right? The things that I've done to learn how to free up time for myself and have a little bit of stress relief. Now, this is a video in our first year fatherhood course. If you are a new dad or a spouse to a new dad, go ahead and check that out. This is something that you definitely want to pick up. So the number one thing that you really have to embrace is planning things out. Before you became a parent, you probably lived a life similar to me where it was just spontaneity, right? You could just think of something to do and then just go ahead and do it. But with kids and then multiple kids, you really have to be intentional about your time and plan out what you want to do and build out more structure. If this is not you, I get it, but trying to embrace the plan things out a little bit more accordingly is, for me, gonna bring a little bit more happiness. And I'll explain why in a second. So what I want you to do is go to families.google.com. And from there, you can add your family members to one large online family in a way. And there's data sharing, there's all these cool perks like photos and whatever. But the main thing that I want you to get out of this is to form a family calendar. It's taken us a long time to really build out some sort of family calendar, but now I live and die by this thing because there are so many things going on. There's multiple kids' birthdays and birthday parties to account for. We have football and soccer and other soccer. We have church events. I have work event things. My wife has different things that she's doing with her friends, her church. When I'm able to just look at it on my phone and see what I have going on, or what we have going on as a family, I can understand very easily. I have a clear picture of kids have this, my wife is gonna be doing this, so I can have this block to do, whatever for myself. Now, with all that said, what I want you to do is sit down with your partner, really sit down and communicate and talk about what time is gonna be yours. Not talking about the random events and things that pop up and it's oh, Thursday night I'm doing this. Right? I'm talking about, what's that consistent thing that's your time that you're not gonna be interrupted, and you take that and you block it out on Google Calendar so that everyone in the family knows. Okay, so for me, that's working out, and maybe that's the same thing for you. Maybe it's running, working out, or playing guitar, or doing photography lessons, I don't know. You need to block it out on that calendar, and that is sacred time for you. Now, if you're saying to me I don't have time, I really don't, you're lying to yourself. I know you have time. If you have time for all this TikTok scrolling, watching this video of me talking right now, that can all be substituted by you doing you, okay? You need to be intentional about your time and stop lying to yourself and saying that you don't have time, because you actually do have time. You just have to make the time for it. And for me, Google Calendars, family Google Calendars, is the way I'm able to achieve that. The other thing that you do want to talk about when you're kind of blocking out this time in your calendar is what's the frequency of this? Is it daily? For us, it's not daily. It's every other day. I got Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, in which you kind of have that time to yourself. So, I don't know what that looks like for you, but the good news is that when you do have it on a calendar, you can see what that looks like, So sit with your partner, talk, adjust. This is a big thing. You can't just sit around and let this thing bottle up. My husband's playing Overwatch again, and he gets to do that all the time. I can't do anything, right? Or you're the dad. I just got home from work and now I have to work again by cleaning out the dishes, and she gets to finally rest and take a nap. All this stuff bottles up and you get angry, right? But when you have a clear picture of it on a calendar, I think that kind of mitigates some of the frustration to some extent. It's not the end-all be-all solution to things, but I think it's a big factor in helping you out and getting organized and getting scheduled. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of an insight as to how we've been able to start making time for ourselves. The second thing, though, is also really important, and that's giving up the guilt while you're taking that time. Because there are some times where I'm in the gym and I can hear through the doors and the walls screaming and crying and they're being intense. I'm I should step in. I should really help out. And there are a couple times where I'll break free. I'm hey, what's going on? Let me help. But when that time is yours, make it yours. right? When Katie's doing her time, right? And she's doing her whatever self-care routine. I still don't know what it is, but she enjoys it, right? When she's doing that and I have the kids and they're acting out, right? The last thing I want is for Katie to come in and try to help out. I'm like, no, like they're screaming, I stepped into this during your block of time to be dad, right? I've got it. Like, screw it. Like, stop thinking about it. Stop, like having it in the back of your head. Like, just go ahead and do your thing. I've got this, okay? You need to let go of the guilt during your personal time so you can really decompress, let loose, do whatever it is that you're doing without this like innate fear in the back of your head that like, oh man, like everyone's mad at me because I need to be there right now. No, that is your time. You need to embrace that time. The kids are gonna be fine. Whoever stepped in, the help that you hired or whoever, if you're gonna get into that, your partner, they're gonna be fine. Everyone can last an hour without you. Another thing about guilt is that we are correlating like the amount of time that we spend with our kids to like the quality of our parenting. I really want to debunk that because time with kids does not mean that, you're being the best parent that you can. Making sure that you're in a healthy headspace, that's what's really gonna determine the quality of your parenting. Because if you're just burned out, that's gonna trickle down to your kids and it's gonna affect the way you act toward your kids. If they're telling you, hey, this thing happened at school today and Billy jumped off this thing and it was really, really fun. And you're just kind of like, cool, bro, like, here we go again. Like, you think that's gonna do anything? Yeah, you're there, you're present, but you're not happy, and they can see that. That's not good. Really understanding and accepting that, I think, is gonna help you mitigate that guilt, understanding that this is actually helping you to be a better parent, because it is. You're not being selfish with your time. You are self-care. Like, I feel like that term is just being thrown around now. It's just commonplace, but like, you are caring for yourself. You are you're recharging the battery so that you can be a better parent, okay? So stop feeling guilty of like, I'm taking a jog right now, but I should be back with my kids, right? No, your husband, your babysitter, your family member, whoever, they've got the kids. You're fine. They will be fine for an hour. So up to this point, we talked about making the right amount of time using Google Calendar to block out time for yourself, letting go of the guilt while you are taking time for yourself so that you can just fully embrace that and recharge your batteries. But then the third element of this is probably the hardest, and that's where am I gonna find the support to take time for myself? And I went on Instagram and I asked like, hey, where do you find support for self-help? I first want to cover off on some of the ones that made me a little bit sad. I don't. What is self-care time? LOL. Again, I don't. I think some of that is kind of like LOL, like I don't have time for myself, ha ha ha. But like, there's also a level of seriousness there. Like I don't have support. I don't have time. You need to get yourself out of that mentality, because that is gonna wear on you in the coming days, weeks, months. That can fester, and it took me about 3 years to really get myself out of that mindset. Like, I don't have any support, I don't have any help. We actually have family nearby, and we still felt like we were like empty, we were just lost. Get out of that mindset of I don't, there's nothing here, no one's gonna help me. There's gonna be help, you just need to get yourself up and find it. So where are you supposed to find that help? Obviously, the first source that you're gonna hear a lot is family, right? If your spouse is, they're working, right? Mother-in-law, father-in-law, uncles, cousins, right? Or even friends. Getting out of the mentality of they're not gonna help me, right? You just ask them, hey, I really need to step out and do this XYZ thing. Can you just watch my kids for about 45 minutes, please? Like, I had such a hard time like getting over this hurdle. Like, I thought that like I'm asking like the biggest favor, but they're not jumping into Normandy with you, right? They're watching your kids for 45 minutes. It's like, it's not that insanely difficult. Like, yeah, your kids are difficult, they might cry, blah, 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 but like anyone can put up with crying for 45 minutes. And just to quickly show you like one example of, parents stepping in successfully in our private Discord server, we were talking about like, upcoming videos on the Verb YouTube channel. And then one of our guys steps in and he goes like, hey, are you guys' parents in town? My wife's mom was amazing and would watch our baby to let us go on dates, saw a bunch of movies, LOL. Also, my wife and I would just take turns watching the baby and do our hobbies. You need to get yourself out of this mindset. Like, what I'm asking is so big and hard and I should be there with my kids. Like, no, you're fine. You can ask family members to watch your kids. What's another source? If you're part of a church community, I found that churches, the moms inside of a church community are very open and welcoming to watch kids and ask for favors. Another big thing are local parenting groups on Facebook. That's a good place to source, like, hey, what are some of the best babysitters in the local area? What are their rates? What are they charging? And kind of plugging into that community. It's gonna be a very helpful thing. I didn't think to do that, but I would highly encourage you to go on Facebook and try to leverage that platform. I like this comment. Hand off to my husband or wait until the baby's sleeping. Don't rely on the wait until the baby's sleeping thing, because sometimes the moment you're like, oh, baby's sleeping, I get a good hour to myself, baby wakes up in 15 minutes, okay? So the last thing that I will say is if you are unable to find friends, family, church, or whatever, you might need to turn to a source like care.com or sittercity.com. These are vetted places that people have found a lot of success. And again, I understand the trepidation and the fear. That is a big struggle, but that is a hurdle that you will need to overcome if you do, or you're seriously looking to take the steps to find time for yourself and be able to recharge the way that you need to. The root of me making this video came because I saw a video on Instagram of a dad who's playing a video game. Baby was trying to get dad's attention. Baby ended up turning off the game and the dad got super mad.
Oh my God. Jasmine, get this kid.
And to me, that just didn't sit well with me, because I think it's perfectly okay to play video games, right? You don't have to give up your whole life of gaming if that's what you enjoy, but there is a time and a place for it. You've got responsibilities now. And I think the best way to approach, figuring out that time are through the tactics and the things that I talked about, right? Just picking up a game willy-nilly and stuff like that. Sure, I mean, I've done that. There have been plenty of times where I just pick up my Switch and just start playing. The kids are sitting right around, because there's nothing better to do, right? But as you welcome more kids and your family gets bigger, time becomes a more complex issue. And I think if you start to implement some of these things that we just talked about throughout this video earlier rather than later, you're gonna be able to find a lot more happiness, a lot more slots for yourself, alignment with your partner, alignment with your kids' schedules, your schedules. I think it's all gonna benefit you in the long run. You can find those time slots to do whatever it is you wanna do, whether it's playing Call of Duty or whatever. How are you gonna work with your partner to block it out? That's something that you guys should really sit down, maybe watch this video again, share this video, cut this video up, and share it on IG Reels. Steal this video, not just self-care. Do whatever you do. No, make time, make it intentional. Sit down with your partner and talk this out. What is my time? What is your time? What is their time? Okay? Hey, I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, hit the like button, consider subscribing to this YouTube channel, and watch this next video. It might be something that you might want to watch next. Take care. Later.